Triple H has just made a terrifying announcement about Roman Reigns and Seth Rollins ahead of SummerSlam. What was already one of WWE's biggest matches has suddenly become even more dangerous, and the new stipulation has completely changed what's at stake. Let's get into it. Raw on June 29, 2026, Atlantic City, the Boardwalk Hall Arena. Roman Reigns stepped into the ring with Jacob Fatu by his side, the World Heavyweight Championship around his waist, and the crowd doing exactly what he commanded, acknowledging him. It was the kind of moment the man has built his entire identity around. Dominant, controlled, the head of the table back on top of the world. And then the music hit. Seth Rollins walked out, the man who had just defeated Braun Breaker, in a steel cage match at Night of Champions the Saturday before. He came alone, no backup, just him. The crowd singing along to his entrance, standing across from his former Shield teammate. The arena felt it immediately. Two of the biggest names in this generation of professional wrestling, face to face. With everything on the table, Rollins wasted no time. He told Reigns he was in possession of a championship that belonged to him, and that it was time to collect. Reigns fired back, telling him he hadn't earned another shot, that he was at the back of the line. That's when Rollins started talking numbers. He pointed to helping Cody Rhodes defeat Reigns at WrestleMania 40. He brought up beating Reigns himself at WrestleMania 41. He reminded the champion that during Reigns' entire 4-year world title run, he never once defeated Rollins. And then the one that stung the hardest, he reminded him that he ended the Shield by driving a steel chair into his back. Every single one of those receipts laid out in public in front of thousands of people, and Roman Reigns couldn't say a word to dispute any of it. Rollins said he was handing Reigns one more opportunity to beat him. He warned him this could be his last chance, with a new generation of stars already circling. He asked Reigns straight up, "Do you really want to end your career?" Without closing the chapter that started when they walked down that ramp together. In the Shield back in 2012, Rollins acknowledged Reigns has a Hall of Fame-worthy career. Then he added the kicker, refused the match, and Reigns would never escape the ghost of Seth Rollins. And Roman Reigns, the man who tells the whole world to acknowledge him. The man who built an empire on never admitting weakness, he dropped his guard, just for a second. He was short with his response. He admitted he needs to beat Rollins. With that, the match was made official. Reigns raised the championship above Rollins to close the segment, confirming one of the biggest matches set for SummerSlam. Triple H, watching from wherever Triple H watches these things, did what he always does. On the Raw after Night of Champions, it was announced Reigns would defend the championship against Rollins at SummerSlam. The chief content officer of WWE had officially greenlit what the entire locker room and the entire fan base had been waiting on. 2 men, 1 belt, Minneapolis in August. SummerSlam 2026 is a 2-night event, going down August 1st and 2nd at US Bank Stadium in Minneapolis, Minnesota. The show marks WWE's first ever stadium event in Minneapolis, and the city's second SummerSlam, following the 1999 edition at Target Center. And now it has its main event, Reigns vs. Rollins, for the World Heavyweight title. The belt that, depending on who you ask, both men have a claim to. Here's the part of this story that hits different when you know the full context. Seth Rollins has been looking to regain the title he never lost, because he was forced to relinquish it last year due to injury. Think about that for a second. A man stripped of a championship not because somebody pinned him, not because somebody beat him, but because his body gave out on him. After regaining the world title at SummerSlam 2025 and leading the Vision, Rollins was stripped of the gold in October 2025 due to a major shoulder injury. Before the injury, he was leading his faction, the Vision. Then the group imploded. Braun Breaker and Bronson Reed turned on their own leader and brutally attacked him to write him off television. A man who came into power, built something, lost everything. Not to a rival, but to betrayal from within, and then to his own body. Punk, who seized the opportunity when the previous champion Seth Rollins was injured, stepped in to take the title that was no longer Rollins to hold. And that opened the door for CM Punk to reign as World Heavyweight Champion all the way through to WrestleMania 42. At WrestleMania 42, Roman Reigns defeated CM Punk to claim the World Heavyweight Championship. Reigns had earned the shot by winning the 2026 Royal Rumble in January. Reigns became a 7-time world champion, winning after almost 35 minutes, sealing the win with back-to-back spears. So follow the lineage. Rollins vacates the title he won at SummerSlam 2025. Punk fills the vacancy, Reigns beats Punk, and now Rollins is standing in front of Reigns demanding it back. The Visionary had already made it clear in a promo after WrestleMania 42 that he wants to win back the title he never lost. His intent became undeniable on the episode of Raw where he defeated Braun Breaker, and then pointed a 1 to the sky while gesturing at his waist. signaling his eyes were locked on the World Heavyweight Championship. And the numbers don't lie when it comes to Rollins and that belt. Since the World Heavyweight Championship was introduced in 2023, only 3 superstars have won it at least twice. Rollins, CM Punk, and Gunther. Rollins was the first man to ever hold it. He helped define what that title means, and in his mind, and maybe in the minds of a lot of people watching, it was taken from him, not lost. The pitch Rollins brought to Reigns was for a match for the World Heavyweight title. A title Rollins held last year and never actually lost, but had to vacate due to injury. That's the weight this match carries going in. This isn't just champion versus challenger. It's 2 men who both have a legitimate argument for owning that gold, about to collide inside a stadium in Minneapolis to finally settle who the real king of that championship is. Dave Meltzer of Wrestling Observer made it clear this match had been planned by WWE for a long time. The original plan was for Reigns to face Gunther at SummerSlam, but when Rollins won the cage match at Night of Champions, the picture snapped into focus immediately. Meltzer's impression when Rollins won was that he was wrestling Roman Reigns. Triple H didn't just stumble into this match, he built the runway for it months in advance. And now it's landing in the biggest stadium in Minnesota in August. To understand what makes this match suffocating in its weight, you have to go all the way back to 2012. The Shield, Dean Ambrose, Roman Reigns, and Seth Rollins debuted on November 18, 2012 at the Survivor Series pay-per-view. 3 young men sent down through the crowd in riot gear, tearing through whoever stood in their way. They were a dominant force in 6-man tag matches, undefeated on television for months. And at Extreme Rules 2013, all 3 members simultaneously won championships. Ambrose took the United States title. Rollins and Reigns grabbed the tag team gold together. They were untouchable and they knew it. Rollins' time as the architect of the Shield marked his first 2 years in WWE as a master class of evolution. He was the linchpin, the one who made the chaos look like chess moves. And Reigns was the powerhouse, the physical force that made opponents think twice before picking a fight. Then Rollins blew it all up. On June 2, 2014, after the Shield had just beaten Evolution for the 2nd time, Rollins took down Reigns with a steel chair shot to the back, the biggest betrayal in WWE history. Triple H's plan B for destroying the Shield turned out to be Rollins turning on his own brothers. In the following episode, Rollins described it as severing a business relationship and destroying his own creation to further his own interests. Reigns claimed that Rollins committed the most unforgivable sin. That chair shot changed everything. It sent Reigns down a path toward becoming the tribal chief. It sent Rollins toward becoming the visionary. 2 men shaped by the destruction of the same thing, a brotherhood they built together and Rollins chose to burn. And every time these 2 have crossed paths since, that moment hangs over the ring like smoke. The last time they faced each other one-on-one was the Royal Rumble in 2022, when Reigns retained the Universal title by disqualification after refusing to release Rollins from the guillotine, ignoring the referee's 5 count entirely. Even that match ended in something unresolved. Reigns didn't beat Rollins, he just refused to let go. In one-on-one matches, Rollins holds a slight head-to-head edge over Reigns, 5 victories, 4 losses, and 1 draw. That edge is one of the key pieces of the promo Rollins threw at Reigns on Raw. The record is real, the math is real. Reigns has never definitively solved the Rollins problem. Despite some brief post-Shield reunions, the 2 have not seen eye to eye since Reigns became the tribal chief. And the point of contention deepened when Rollins helped Cody Rhodes dethrone Reigns and end his record-setting title run at WrestleMania XL. Feeling a sense of responsibility for the birth of the tribal chief, tied to his original betrayal of Reigns, Rollins teamed up with Cody Rhodes at WrestleMania XL in a match against Reigns and The Rock. Even then, even in alliance, Rollins couldn't keep himself away from this story. He's always orbiting it, always involved in where Reigns ends up. Rollins pointed out in that Raw promo that the one thing Reigns has never accomplished in WWE is defeating him. And with both their careers winding down and a new generation coming through, this might be the last chance to do it. That's the fire burning underneath this match, not just a title defense. A reckoning that's been 13 years in the making. Triple H has stacked this SummerSlam card to the ceiling, but make no mistake, the Reigns and Rollins match is the fulcrum the entire weekend rotates around. And the pieces Triple H put in place around it only make it heavier. Roman Reigns and Rollins are set to clash for the World Heavyweight Championship, with Jacob Fatu supporting Reigns. Don't gloss over that detail. Fatu in Reigns' corner changes the math of every single minute of that match. Reigns came out to the ring with Jacob Fatu on Raw, and after addressing the crowd, he was interrupted by Rollins. The bloodline machinery is still very much attached to Reigns. He's not out there alone. Rollins, on the other hand, he made his entrance alone and stood across from his former Shield teammate without any backup. Just him, one man, walking into a den of wolves with nothing but the size of his resume and the fire in his chest. WWE wrote Lesnar out at WrestleMania 42 before bringing him back as the obstacle in Femi's path, and spent months building his rise as a top-of-card project. Then there's the Women's Championship picture. Io Sky won the Queen of the Ring tournament at Night of Champions, and the win granted her a world title match against a champion of her choosing in Minneapolis. In an interview with Byron Saxton after the win, Sky confirmed her pick was Women's World Champion Liv Morgan. Brian Alvarez opines that King of the Ring winner Oba Femi is additionally positioned to make major moves at SummerSlam. And the biggest remaining question surrounding the card is Sami Zayn's undisputed WWE Championship defense, as the Bloodline, specifically Jey Uso, appears to be circling. Triple H has built a SummerSlam card that functions like a pressure cooker on every level. Every match has consequences that spill into the next. And sitting on top of it all like a crown on a mountain is the World Heavyweight Championship match. Two men who came into WWE together, who tore this industry apart, and rebuilt it in their image, now going to war for the most important prize. One of them technically never surrendered. Brian Alvarez was among the prominent voices in wrestling media, who indicated Reigns would rekindle this rivalry with his former Shield ally at SummerSlam. And the fact that it landed exactly as insiders projected it only adds to the sense that Triple H has been steering this train toward this exact station for a very long time. Nothing about the June 29th Raw felt accidental. We are much closer to the end than we are to the beginning, Rollins said on that Raw stage, and nobody in that building could argue with it. These are two men in the twilight stretch of careers. That redefined what the top of WWE looks like. Reigns' first title reign since the end of his legendary 1,316-day run as undisputed WWE champion, ended by Cody Rhodes, makes his current World Heavyweight Championship reign feel like borrowed time with a clock ticking. Reigns, who wrestles on a part-time schedule, always competes at WWE's second biggest pay-per-view. SummerSlam is his stage, it always has been. But this time feels different. This time there's a weight to it that wasn't there before. The thorny issue of his status remains. Reigns being a part-time champion in a world of full-time stars. And Rollins, who once ran Raw almost nightly as the workaholic heartbeat of the show, has now returned from injury to claim the title he argues was never truly taken from him. These aren't men climbing to the top of the mountain. They're men who have already been there, staring at each other across a canyon. That's been there since 2014. Rollins has owned Reigns dating all the way back to that chair shot. That broke up the Shield and sent Reigns down the very path that built his empire. Reigns has done it all, became the tribal chief, embarked on one of the most impressive title runs in WWE history. But the one thing he hasn't done is beat Rollins. That's the thing that doesn't go away. That's the itch that won't stop. Reigns has conquered everyone else. He's conquered the industry. He's beaten legends, broken records, built a dynasty out of nothing. But Rollins is the one name on his resume that has a question mark next to it. So Seth is giving him the chance to answer that question. But considering where both men are in their careers, this may very well be the final chance they have to do this dance. And the WWE fan base, the wrestling internet, the diehards, the casuals who just see Roman Reigns on a SummerSlam poster and tune in, all of them feel the gravitational pull of this thing. Reigns versus Rollins for the World Heavyweight Championship is a payoff. WWE has teased through years of post-Shield booking. Every faction war, every backstabbing, every WrestleMania near miss. It's all been pointing here. Reigns accepted Rollins' challenge with Jacob Fatu in his corner, keeping the bloodline machinery attached to his main event run. That is Roman Reigns in 2026. He doesn't walk into a fight clean. He walks in with the full weight of the family behind him. Rollins knows this, the crowd knows this, and yet here he is anyway. World Heavyweight Champion Roman Reigns will once again meet his arch-nemesis Seth Rollins in a Camus title fight at SummerSlam. Despite some brief post-Shield reunions, the two have not seen eye to eye since Reigns became the tribal chief. Triple H didn't just announce a match. He unlocked something that's been locked away since a chair shot. In 2014, changed the trajectory of two of the greatest careers this company has ever produced. The announcement is terrifying not because of what it is, but because of what it means. One of these men is walking out of Minneapolis, still carrying that unresolved chapter. and the other is finally, after 13 years, going to get his answer. SummerSlam streams live August 1st and 2nd on the ESPN app, in the United States and on Netflix internationally. The question isn't just who wins the World Heavyweight Championship. The question is, after everything, after the Shield, after the betrayal, after WrestleMania and Royal Rumbles and 4-year title reigns, an injury and comebacks, who walks out of US Bank Stadium, able to say they finally closed the loop? That answer comes in August.